class, in this video, I'll be showing you how to do your topic 8 assignment using science and health across the curriculum. For this assignment, you'll be creating a slideshow or digital slide presentation of any sort. Could be a PowerPoint, Google slideshow, or even a Prezi. And you're going to be addressing this idea of cross-curricular teaching that incorporates science or health. You will be defining what this cross-curricular instruction is. You'll explain how it supports students' learning, development, motivation. So you want to make sure that you touch on each of those as you explain. And then you'll want to explain how the thematic process across the content areas can make it easier to incorporate student strengths, needs, or interests. And then you'll give me 3 examples of strategies or ideas to incorporate science or health across the content areas. Now, when you create this presentation, you want to make sure that you support your ideas with scholarly sources. And that doesn't just mean that you have a reference page, but that means whatever is on that reference page is used as in-text citations. Tell me where that reference is used. Those references will be really important in these top 3 bullet points to support these ideas. And then the fun part is these instructional strategies or ideas to incorporate other subjects. A tip is to use your unit plan, your benchmark plan, and think about how you can then incorporate other areas. So for example, throughout the course, I've been using the standard around vibrations and creating sound. I'll talk to you about maybe how I could include math. Maybe students, could collect data of some sort. So data collection is a big one that I can use for math. When it comes to maybe measuring different, instruments and how, I'm not sure. I'd have to think through that one just a little bit more, but data collection is a little bit, is an area in which I could include math. ELA, okay, that's easy. What are we going to read about? I could read about different musical instruments and their history. I could learn or read about different places and their famous instruments that they use, or I could read about how sound is produced like in a scientific, my science textbook. I could incorporate some of those ELA skills. Social studies, this one's my favorite one when it comes to that standard. So there's some really great connections with community and recycling around social studies that I could incorporate with if students created their own musical instrument out of recycled materials. We could talk about that reusing or repurposing of things and the idea of taking care of your community. There's a really great video out there about these kids in Mexico who didn't have money for their own instruments, and they used recycled materials to create their own instrument that I would totally include in that social studies idea. So you can really get creative across these things. You might, for math, I might give them a data set and say, what's the most popularly used musical instruments? And they could look at the data sets and determine questions like that. So you can get creative with the math, or in the engineering design aspect, I might give them a budget as a constraint. And I might say something like, you have $100 to buy the materials you need to create your musical instrument. And then I would have the recycled materials there, like beans or a box or rubber bands, and they would have a different price to them. And students would be able to choose the items they wanted to create their instruments, but they couldn't spend more than that $100. And so that's how I could incorporate math. I knew it would come to me. So that's a really easy way in any project to incorporate math, is by creating some sort of budget or something, where they have to have these constraints when they're in the engineering design process. So when you do this, I love to use this website I don't know if you guys have seen this, but Slide Carnival. They've got the most adorable templates here. And you can use any of these templates instead of just the basic PowerPoint templates if you'd like for your presentation. So here's the science category one. So I could look at all these different templates. If you wanted to get a little more creative or have a little more excitement on your presentation, they have some really cute templates on this web page that you could use. They even have education ones, so you might go look at those. Oh, that looks like a science notebook. So if you want to get a little more creative, these are the fun assignments where you're not just writing, but you can get your creativity going as well. When we look at our rubric, you'll be graded in these areas. And if you'll notice, the cross-curricular examples are going to be the highest point value. So make sure you put the most of your work into those. So your definition of cross-curriculum, comprehensive definition, not just a quick little brief definition, but you can include a quote and then explain it further. Your cross-curricular integration, you explain thoroughly how it aids in these things, and it's supported with research. So it's important for you to be able to get target in this area. You have quality research supporting these explanations. The thematic planning. So you include justification on how it can support the student's strengths, needs, interests. Include examples. Examples really make for a more thorough response to some of these things. And then your examples, presentation, this would be if it looks nice, like using the Slide Carnival, include visual aids and all of that. And then your title slides, you make sure that you put your speaker notes and you use your citations properly, and then layout and language use. Sometimes layout and presentation tend to have some crossover here, but they're only worth 2 points each. So typically some of those things I see are very similar between layout. It's visually appealing. You have headings, subheadings, etc. Or presentation, it's neat, you know, so there's some crossover there. If you have any questions as you're doing this assignment, please don't hesitate to reach out with your questions.